Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Tell Not Show. As always, we are your hosts. We have the wonderful and fabulous Kirsha Fox, author of Sun is Deception and The White Leaf Child. She's a homeschooling mom of four, avid reader, and gamer.
And my co-host is Julia J.K. Allen, editor, author, and author coach. She's a fantasy and horror author who loves to put magic in everything. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yes, we're very excited to welcome our guest, Jillian MacGregor.
Yes, Jillian MacGregor is a romance author from Central Massachusetts. She loves dogs, coffee, and chocolate. Her debut series features hot rock stars and the women they love. We're very excited to have her.
Yes, welcome
Hello,
to the
Jillian.
show.
Hello.
So tell us a little bit about your writing journey. What got you into writing, and what does it look like for you so far?
So I mean, before I was even writing them down, right? I had this friend in second grade, and at recess, we would tell each other these elaborate stories, and we were in second grade. Like, even if we wrote them down, no one would be able to read them. And this friend, I continue to have throughout high school when we started to write things down. And then, life kind of got in the way. I had kids, college, all of that stuff. And then finally, a couple of years ago, one of my friends who writes paranormal, she convinced me to do National Novel Writing Month, just on a whim, right? And then it kind of ran away from me from there.
Right. Once you catch the writing bug, it can be hard to get away and escape.
Yeah. So many writers just they know even as a child that they are storytellers, and that it's something that we just do.
Yeah. There are people talking to me in my brain, and I need to share them with everyone else.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly.
So what drew you to the genre that you are, romance, and particularly rock star romance?
Rock star romance came from just one of my other, big passions is music. Going to shows, creating music. I don't create music anymore. I used to play every instrument you could think of in the high school band. That was me. But music has always just been a really big part of my life. Romance, I'm a sucker for a happy ending and swooning. So if I can, that's what the people in my head are doing. They're winning over their female counterparts.
Right. No, everyone. I love a good happy ending too, so I can definitely relate to that.
All right. So can you tell us a little bit about your writing process? Obviously you started with NaNoWriMo. I assume that you're still writing, working on more stuff. How do you go from idea to finished draft?
I am what, everybody refers to as a pantser. Everything I write is chaos. Typically, case in point, the book that I wrote during Nano was Uninvited, which is behind me over here. It is the second book in the series. So I had to go and write the first book before I could write, release the second book that I wrote first. So it's very confusing. I write completely out of order. Everything is chaos. When something comes to my mind, I jot it down, in whatever detail I can see it. And then, I try and put the puzzle pieces together to make it coherent to people who aren't me.
Yeah, no, I'm not completely a pantser, but I can relate to that. The first time I wrote a novel that I actually finished, I realized this was book 2, and then I needed to write book 1 after I wrote that book.
Not alone.
No, you were definitely not alone. That was my very first successful finished novel, and I was like,
Yes.
"What? It's not book 1 though. I need to start again." Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a plotter, but I do the same thing where the scenes are out of order. It's just whatever's in my brain, whatever I'm feeling motivated, I write that because I need to capture it before it's gone.
Well, it also helps with rhythm.
It does. So for you, what is the most important part of writing?
I don't know what the most important part is. I know there are parts I like and parts I really hate.
Mhm.
I'm not a super huge fan of cleaning up the mess that I made and putting everything in some kind of order, right?
Right.
Inevitably, when my manuscript gets delivered to the first editor, there are still spots in it that say like insert description here that I missed during my 1,500 run-throughs of it. I really dislike doing. I've been there. I don't want to keep
Mhm.
going there. I think and the longer you get through the editing process, the more times you've read it. And like at this point, you could recite it word for word, but you cannot write a blurb. I hate writing blurbs too. I like discovering like the characters and what's going to happen, because I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
They just start talking and I just start transcribing, and whatever happens. It's a surprise to me too. But once that surprise is over, it gets harder.
Oh yeah, the editing process is definitely an uphill battle, and it's like walking in the same circles, the same well-worn paths again and again and again. Yeah, by the time you're sick of your own book, it's definitely time to give it to the editor.
Yes, that's usually a good indicator of it's time to give it to the editor. Because
Like there's nothing more I can do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I definitely do that too, but I put them in brackets, my little notes to myself, so that I can search function them and find them a little easier. But definitely it's hard to go and find all those pesky areas where you're like, oh, I have to write a description here.
Right. No,
well, and you're going through and you're like, nope, still don't know what this is. I'll keep going.
Yes.
Yep. Write a lot of notes to myself. I left them in one time for the editor, and luckily she just found it hilarious, but she was just like, oh, little note to yourself here. Make sure to delete it, Yeah.
So do you start with like characters, like for your beginning idea, or do you start with more of like a plot?
There's usually characters in mind, right? Like there's just something. I mentioned a few minutes ago that like music is huge for me. Usually there's a song that is playing on repeat in my head, and somehow this connects to some kind of character, and like that is part of their story. And I actually like it, those types of things end up getting like interwoven, just like little bits and pieces into the story, because that's how these people are made.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I think to start with music as inspiration. A lot of people will kind of curate a playlist for themselves, but to start from pure inspiration from music is very interesting. I really like that.
I think that's something that is like unique to you that I've heard so far.
Yeah. It sounds like a fascinating thing to try out though for people.
A lot of people will start like with mood, or like a playlist.
Right.
Start with a song or a particular band as a genre. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, there ends up a playlist. Like when I'm ruminating over what's kind of gonna happen. Like I'm adding songs to a playlist the whole time I'm writing. Like this mood of like this thing that needs to happen next. And sometimes you'll like see like it's kind of descriptive of like lyrics of a song. So all of my books ended up named after that main song that like triggered it on.
Yeah, you should have that playlist available for people while they read the book. Do like a QR code or something on your website. You can download a list of that would be
I
really
want to
cool.
say the last one I released, or when I released the third one in the series, that one definitely, I know I posted a playlist for that one. I'm not sure if I did it with the rest of them.
Oh, you should. That's such a fun idea when I hear people doing music along with their novels. Yeah.
Going on like music and everything, what kind of like genres of music do you usually pull from? You said rock stars, but that's kind of general.
Yeah. So I listened to a lot of early 2000s emo. I think that's usually, where those like rock star like personalities come from, is those early 2000s emo by My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, all of those. Like they're all just kind of pulled in there, right? And then I listened to like a lot of rock, a little bit of pop, absolutely no country. I cannot cannot get into it. It's not my thing, but like a lot of other things, I will listen to.
Yeah, no, 2000s music. I think probably because like we were all in school, and like that's kind of like what is the nostalgia factor for I think people our age, is that time period. And yeah, I remember all those rockers coming out, and they're all singing about heartbreak, and yeah.
Yes,
I
and
I even remember like screaming infidelities, like, right, like
yes, it's they've got the right mood for a romance book.
Yeah, they do.
Yes,
No,
they do.
That tortured artist.
Right. Reminds me of the Romantics. Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Do you have a favorite author, and what do you feel they do really well?
I have so many favorite authors. There are so many people that I like absolutely love. Who are like, what people call like auto-buy authors. So like I add to cart, like those they're pre-orders for me. Kennedy Sutton, who's an indie author, she writes pirate romantasy. Never thought I would get into pirate romantasy, but the way I devoured her entire series is insane. And she's just an all-around sweet person.
Yeah, she's your friend.
Yes, she's so sweet, and I just want to be her best friend. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to be her best friend.
She's the kindest, yeah.
She is. I love it. I really like A.K. Mulford, who doesn't. I like her rom-coms are absolutely perfect. I don't read a lot of fantasy because I can't like get my head into it. So I can't. Well, I could definitely never write it, but I don't like it. It's hard for me to like pay that kind of attention. Where I'm
it's
not
very
losing it.
A lot of time it's a close read that you have to do.
Yeah. So those are my two top.
Yeah. What did you think? A.K. Mulford, you said you really like her. What do you think she does really well?
She does a lot of things really. I really like it. It's witty, right? Like it's witty, it's cute. Like, so speaking of the rom-coms, I can't speak to the fantasy, but it's witty and it's cute.
Right.
And like she always has like LGBTQIA like representation, and whether it's the main character or their friends, like there's always that element there, which I love.
Yeah, I actually know of her from TikTok. Yeah.
Yes, she's absolutely like I also would like to be her best friend. She's kind of far away to be best friends, but
very fun.
I would be her best friend.
Very fun person. Yeah.
I feel like in reading somebody else's books, you get a window into their soul that they may or may not have intended to put there. And it's not the whole of them, but it's a window enough. So reading someone's book, you're like, I love this person. Like whoever wrote this, I love them.
Yeah.
But I feel the same way with definitely with Kennedy Sutton. Like I started with a Glorious Mess, and after that, yes. Like two books have stands in my library, and it's A Glorious Mess and my own books. So
I own the hardcover, paperback, and ebook of that book.
Nice.
And now the paperback and the hardcover are signed.
Yes.
I love that. Like I love that book.
Yeah, no,
it is so good. She had me from the first chapter right there. So, but I definitely feel that like we're breaking pieces of ourselves off and writing them down and sending them out into the world, and hopefully people like them.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it is such a connection you can feel to the author, though.
I'm sorry, where were we?
Yeah. What have you learned from the writing process?
From the writing process, I have learned that I don't know as many words as I wish I did. I always have the thesaurus open because I'm like, girl, you've used the word smile 150 times.
Right.
Like, you gotta come up with another word.
Smiling in my book. Everyone's smiling all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I've invested in a lot of thesauruses, which I didn't seek out. Like I used to think I knew a lot of words, but turns out I don't.
Right.
So I definitely learned a lot about how much I don't know.
Yes, that's such an apt thing to say about writing, though. In general, is like you learn what you don't know, and then it
Mhm.
makes you better, though. Yeah, it makes you so much better for the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that approach. Like what they always talk about the Dunning Kruger effect. Like the more you think you know about something, often the least because you
Mhm.
you
Yes.
you don't know all the stuff you don't know yet.
Mhm.
So I really love that take on
Writing
things.
is
Yeah.
right. Writing is definitely a very humbling process
Hmm.
when you realize just how much you don't know and like how like you're very much a baby author starting out, you know. I thought I knew how commas worked. I really did.
Commas always get people. Yeah.
I thought I did too until I got back like the style sheet from my editor, and she's like, removed a
Yeah.
lot of rogue commas. I was like, okay, learn
Right.
how to use a
Yeah.
comma.
No. That's why we have editors who are experts on things
I
like
would be
that.
lost without them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I only know about commas because as part of like working in college, I would help ESL students. So
Mhm.
yeah, I learned a lot about doing tutoring, grammar to people because it's like I feel like we learn grammar in like second grade, right? And then we promptly forget it. And you only know of terms like grammar terms if you learn another language and like
Mhm.
oh we conjugate. But
Mhm.
most people don't know grammar terms. Just like they just intrinsically know the rules of the language.
Yeah.
Yeah, you pick it up from reading,
Yes.
you
Or
know.
yeah, you understand like it doesn't sound right to say like the wrong tense of a verb, like but you won't, it's hard for people to
Mhm.
explain why something is the way that it
Yes.
is unless they've like tutored and then they're like, oh, I actually know why we do this. Yeah. So no, don't feel bad about the commas. I feel like everyone always says that when I edit for people and they're always like, I thought I knew what commas were and I do not.
I'm hoping that she has found that over the course of the series, I have gotten better about my comma usage.
Yes. I always
Mhm.
Hopefully, I'm
love
learning.
seeing. Yeah, I always love seeing like, oh, this person is picking up what we've been doing, and and making adjustments as they go. I always love that.
Oh, and I totally relate with that. Like my first book, I put through like 2.5 editors and a dozen beta readers. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like even then I was still finding mistakes. Even then I was still like, oh, I wish I had done that part better. I think there will never be a time that I look at my first book
Right.
and go like, yes, I'm always gonna be like, ugh, like
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I
But
would
the
like to hide
second
under a bridge when we talk about my first book.
yes.
Yeah. No, I
But
know
the
what you
second
mean
book was
though.
a lot easier. Came out a lot faster. I feel like I made a lot fewer mistakes. I knew what I was doing. I was a lot more confident. So I'd like to think that we as authors, we grow with each successive
Mm-hmm.
book.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we're still learning.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever stop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should always be learning. That's my
Mhm.
goal. One of my goals in life. Yeah.
So as far as learning, if you could tell a new author any one thing, one piece of advice, what would you tell them?
The writing is the easy part.
Yeah,
It is.
right,
Everything that comes after the editing, the proofing, the formatting, and like anything, especially if you're going to do it yourself or
right.
querying, like all of these things take up so much time. And
Mm.
like, I was so surprised at how much more time it took to do like all of these other things than it did to write the
Right.
actual book.
Yeah, no, there's a whole business side to authoring that takes a lot of time and energy.
It does, and it was unexpected to me, right? Like I knew it would take a lot. I
Right,
knew it was work, and I was willing to put in the work, but the like balance of hours didn't.
right,
Still, it mystifies me. I'm like, where am I going to find time to write? Because I have all these other things that need to get done.
right. No, I can definitely understand that feeling because it's just like you
Yeah.
want to do the fun part, which is the
Yes,
writing, but then all this other stuff takes up your time and energy.
Mhm. The business of authoring, of being an
Yeah,
author is
yeah.
just it's so much and yeah.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
it's
And
exhausting.
like you were saying, as a lot of people aren't aware of it when they begin, just
Right.
how much other stuff comes. Everyone's always like, "Oh, I know there's more to writing the book than just writing," but they don't realize how much more. Yeah.
Yeah. Or how
Mhm.
time consuming each of those pieces can be.
Yeah, right. Because when you're doing it indie, it's always time or money. It's your time to learn how to do it yourself, or money to pay someone else who already knows. So
Yep.
yeah, it does end up taking a lot of time if you're doing it all on your own. Speaking of time, since we're doing wonderful segues today, uh, how do you make time for writing?
So I'm, in a position where my children are adults.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
they're
nice.
22 and 25. So I don't have little ones to look after anymore. I don't even have to like drive people to baseball practice. Like they're fully sufficient
Right.
humans. And so the only, people I'm kind of taking care of are me and my husband, and he's fairly self-sufficient as well. So, I'm lucky in that, I do have a 9 to 5, which is usually more like 7 to 6, but
Okay.
sometimes I can squeeze. I've tried to write in the morning before work, but my brain's not braining at that point. There's not
No, I
enough.
can relate.
I'm not awake enough to do it. I just stare like blankly at the page.
Hmm.
So usually after work, I'll set aside an hour. On the weekends, I set aside a few hours. On Saturday, a few hours on Sunday. I'm really good at writing when I'm locked into a place. So if I'm on a plane or a train, I get
Right.
so many words done. Like I I wanted to get on a train just so I could finish the work in progress I have that
Yeah.
needs to go to the editor on the 24th. I'm like, I need to just get on a train. It'll all come out if I get on a train, but I
Yeah.
don't know where to
Right.
go.
Nice little fun little mini vacation you can take. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Oh my
train.
gosh. On a train? Why not? I've always wanted to ride on a train. That sounds so romantic and like just like oh, that's such a
And then
novelist thing to do.
it
I'm an
maybe
author.
it could be a novelist thing to do, but I can tell you that there's nothing romantic about Amtrak. But
This is
my
true. I have been on the Amtrak before. Yes.
it's not glamorous. And actually, I've had to warn several people, like if I'm writing something spicy, I'd be like, if you're going to look at my screen, do so at your own risk, because I
Yes.
am not
Right.
taking
You're like,
responsibility
don't
for what
judge
you
me.
see. Like, I'm
Right.
telling
You
you right
could see
now, this is not
anything
G-rated.
on that
Right.
screen. Yeah. This is not safe for work.
Mhm.
No, even though I'm dressed in my work clothes because I'm probably on my way to a meeting somewhere.
Right. Right.
Because usually I'm traveling, if I'm traveling
For
by
work.
train, usually it's for work. So I'm going from Providence to New York or Providence to Washington, D.C. And they're really
Oh
nice
yeah.
long train rides for getting writing done. But
Yeah.
a lot of business people on there who are looking at me like, what is she doing?
Right. No, I love that though.
Mhm.
You're doing that side hustle.
I think it's the thing that like we always dream about or daydream about is like
Mm.
writing in a scenic location with like, a drink and a snack and just having that peace and that time.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I've been able to do
Uninterrupted.
that. I've been able
Mhm.
to do that. We take vacation for my birthday in February. So,
Very nice.
brought my laptop along and sat there and wrote by the ocean. While people brought me drinks. Was it my most quality
Can't
writing ever?
complain.
No, because they were bringing me drinks all day. But it
Right.
was
Can't
so
complain about it
peaceful and it
though.
just felt
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. Can't complain at all.
I think you touched on this a little bit before, but let's go into it. What is your favorite part of writing?
It's literally like just getting to know my characters. They're
Yeah.
very unexpected as they come out on the page. Like I think I know where things are heading, because usually, like I said, it's part of like a song that like kind of inspires their whole like
Right.
persona. But man, when I tell you the surprises that have been thrown at me, like I
Oh
didn't realize
yeah.
that this is what was going to happen. So I really do like being surprised by the things that come out of my own fingers.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, discovering the story as you go can be very, very fun and rewarding.
Mhm.
Yeah, we were just like, I can't wait to find out what happens next. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're typing along. You're like, you have a brother? Oh, geez, like
Yeah, right.
Yes.
they tell us, they whisper their stories in our ears, and we're just
Yeah, or you're
rooting
just like,
them.
wait, who's your ex, right? Like, yeah.
And then it all comes together in the end, like we were planning it the whole time.
Like magic. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
is like magic writing. I feel like storytelling is very magical.
Mhm.
Yes.
hmm Now, we already talked about your least favorite part of writing would be the editing and the extra bits. Yeah.
Very much
All
so.
right. So let's skip that question and go to what influences your writing.
So, like I said, like music, the book, like Uninvited, literally, like you can kind of, and I can't come up with an example because, I'm here like on the spot, but like the song Uninvited by Alanis Morissette, like that whole like tone of it,
Okay, yeah.
where she's like, you're really into me, but like, this is not the time, this is not the place. Like that's the whole like feeling of it. So like that's what kind of, the whole thing kind of spurred from that type of angst. I think that's the only way you can refer to Alanis Morissette as angst. So that whole angst gets pulled into there and becomes a book.
Okay, very nice. Do you have any other authors that have influenced you?
I think like all of the writers, all of the authors that I grew up reading, despite the fact that I could never be clever enough to write like thrillers, Patricia Cornwell, I devoured her books from the time I was a small child, despite the fact that they were not books that children should be reading. Like, it's all she's a coroner, like in a series, like it's death and it's crime. But I like devoured everything she ever wrote about it, and just like
Is she the Bones author then?
She's just it's those types of like authors that it kind of just stick,
Yeah, no, I love that description of the authors that stick. It's such a good one. Yeah, that's a great one.
All right. Do you ever get writer's block, and how do you deal with it?
I have had writer's block for the last 4 weeks. I am praying to the ADHD gods of hyperfocus because this thing needs, I've got my time booked with my editor and it's coming up quick, and I literally have written 18 words in like 4 weeks. It's a problem. I have not found a way around it. Usually listening to that like playlist, just kind of like getting myself in the mood with the playlist has worked in the past. It's not working right now. I don't know what the deal is. These people are not talking to me. All of a sudden they're very quiet. We're like halfway through the book. But halfway through the amount of words that will end up in the book, but random disjointed.
Yeah.
And I don't
No, for me, when I get writer's block, it's usually because somewhere along the way my characters took a wrong turn. So I'll go backward in the story until I reach that spot that doesn't feel quite right, that doesn't resonate, and I change it, and then they start talking again. I feel like when I've tried to force the characters to do something, they're like, nope, we're not playing anymore.
Right. And that is part of the problem. So because this is an interconnected standalone series, but this book starts, it overlaps with the ending of the book before it. So there are certain things that have to happen in a certain time because it's done. That book is done now, right? It's out there. Those are set in stone. And I feel like it's compressing the timeline for these two characters to, start to actually like each other. I feel like one of the main characters would not like be this easy to like fall into a relationship. But he has to.
Well, I will say a couple of things. I have met people that feels like I knew them forever and easy to fall into a relationship that way. The other thing is I had really bad writer's block one time, and I heard the advice to write from like a side character's point of view, like a minor character that doesn't have a POV, write something, anything. It doesn't even have to go in the book, but it can kind of jog things to see things from a different perspective. And I ended up loving that so much that I put her as a POV character in other books after that because I loved her perspective, because it was like, you know what they say, when there's a story, there's three sides: your side, my side, and the truth, right? So her side of things was so different, but it was such a good exercise for me to think of the story and the plot and the characters, but from a different perspective, and it completely jostled all the cobwebs out of my mind, and I was able to write.
I will have to do that like later today.
Yeah. Try it out. Yeah, try it out. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
It's a fantastic creative exercise to look at it from a different perspective.
Absolutely, because a lot of times, like just seeing that different angle, you'll be able to be like, that's what was tripping me up, Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say has been your most significant writing victory so far?
I I made it with the third release, Beautiful Trauma. I made my editor when she received it, when the like comment back was just like she wrote the word gutted with like I don't know 29 U's in it, and then like 10 T's, and like she was just like,
Yeah.
this book made me bawl. And then by the time we got through like the back and forth, she's like, every time you would give this back to me, like I had to like brace myself because I knew I was gonna cry. And it was the biggest compliment I think that anybody could ever give me, is somebody who reads that many manuscripts. And she was just like, you have managed to destroy me. And I was like, okay,
my soul. Yes, my
sorry,
soul
not sorry.
Right. What an amazing compliment, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy for you. Yeah, no, it's very, very much like you, when you do it for work, you still love it, right? Because it's reading and it's fun and it's stories and all of that stuff. But sometimes you're not prepared for the story and you're just like, wait a minute, it's a Tuesday. Like, calm down, author. Yeah. It can just be really emotional.
Yeah, I feel like it's those books that draw us in, that make us cry, are the ones that are the most memorable. We always remember how we felt in that moment when the thing happened, and we're just like, what? What? We're devastated. And I think that like I read a lot of books too, and some of them you read and you enjoyed them, but like they're gone. You cannot remember very much of anything. You can't remember the characters' names. You think something
you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Those books that like slash you across the heart and heal you at the same time. You remember those books.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I think probably the first book like that for me was in 5th grade. I'd read Little Women.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just devastated, but so glad that I had read the book. You know what I mean? Like, because it was so bittersweet in the end, of going on that journey with the sisters and then losing sister, and then, but
I love that book so much that I did like book reports on Louisa May Alcott, and like I became obsessed.
I need to reread that because it's been a very long time, obviously. But yeah, no, that was probably like the first book that really like gutted me and had that impact on me. Another book that really did that for me was like Pride and Prejudice, because I was just like, it seems like all hope is lost, like never will work out and all that stuff, and then you have like the perfect ending to it and you're just like, but I blame Jane Austen for my expectations of men, like falling in love and being like, I will do the right thing and be a better person,
She ruined a lot of us.
Yes, she said the bar's high,
The bar is way too high.
Yeah, very, very high. Are you reading anything now?
I usually have like a billion things I'm reading. Megan Quinn's Bridesmaid for Hire, I have that in my audiobook, so when I'm cooking, whatever, I'm listening to that. Was it A Disastrous Wake? The newest Kennedy Sutton is what I'm reading, like physically.
Right.
So on the ebook, but will I own the paperback? Of course I will.
And the hardcover.
Right.
And maybe the hardcover too.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm ready for it. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that support for other authors. That's like one thing I love about the writing community is like very few people are like cutthroat. You're my competition. It's always rising tides lifts all boats. Like everyone is so supportive and welcoming, and just like, and it's so nice when you find your people and you're like, you understand the trauma of writing, though. You know what I mean? That it's the thing that we love and hate the most. So.
Has anyone given you any writing advice that you just like hate? Like it did not resonate with you, did not help? No thanks.
I don't know if there's anything that I hated. I think, like the usual things that, I don't like being told what the rules are for writing. So one of my like pet peeves is the whole passive voice, which is hilarious, right? I don't like being told that I can't put something in passive voice. when to me that's the only logical way to do it, right? Like I don't like being told rules like that.
No, anything that's like an absolute is very hard to like take seriously for me, because it's
everything.
Like, even show don't tell. Like there's definitely times to tell. I don't want to hear about a guy like driving in his car, driving to his location, parking.
Right.
You know, like you don't.
There
show
are things
everything.
You can skip.
Yeah. Absolutely. Passive voice as well can be very stylistic, right? Like if you want to say like the hours whiled themselves away, you know what I mean? Like it's a poetic way of saying like time passed, you know.
Yeah, like I've had one character like in particular just had like that was just part of their personality and how they spoke to people and how they interacted. And I'm like, I can't. That's who they are. We can't. It can't be changed. Sorry.
Right. No, and that's the thing is it's always just like everything's a balance. It's just when you do too much passive voice that can, you know, slow pacing down and affect other things. But yeah, never always. You know, like there's always a time and a
that
place
usually grates on my
nerves to happen. Yeah.
Don't tell me never or always, because
right.
I will not do it that way.
No, I can definitely relate. I feel like I have the PDA ADHD where I'm like, don't tell me what to do at all, like ever. I will not take time.
Now I'm going to do it even harder.
Yes,
exactly. Right, exactly. Yes. No, I have horrible posture and slouch so much because when I was about 5 or 6, a random woman told me that I was going to be a hunchback if I kept slouching like that, and I slouched even more for her having the audacity to tell me to sit up straighter. I was like, you're not my mom. Like, I don't need to listen to you. And I slouched even more. And now I'm like a C basically when I sit. So, that's how it goes. Yeah.
It's not that bad, but yeah.
Right.
Where can we find out more about you online?
Like, so my website is JillianMacGregor.com. It has like all of my stuff. You can find my books on Amazon. I'm on TikTok and Threads lately, more Threads than anything. I've become addicted to that. Randomness from me, if anybody ever wanted to hear like random thoughts, that's where I'm putting them, is Threads.
Yeah, so just Jillian MacGregor for your social media handles. Okay, awesome. Yes.
And Threads has been a surprisingly welcoming community.
It has.
Okay. I have not gotten onto Threads yet. I might have to though.
I made an account like a year ago, and I like looked at it for a day, and I was like, this isn't for me. And I don't know what prompted me to like log back into the app, but like in the last month, that has been my go-to social media. Like I go to Threads and I chat with the people.
I feel like it has less pictures and it's more writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or at least the pictures are smaller. Whereas like Facebook and Instagram, it's like pictures. Like if something doesn't you almost don't see it. So I feel like I'm getting more of people's like genuine, and it's less shared. It's less, it's more talking.
Right.
So and I think the feed is more diverse. Like the algorithm isn't as weird. Okay, like you get stuck on TikTok. I get stuck on like the most random for like a week straight. I was listening to what I think is German. Every TikTok I came across, they were speaking German. I don't speak German. I'm like, why would you put this in my feed? I don't know what they're saying.
Right. I think it's because that Barbara Rhubarb song got so popular.
Get obsessed with that song.
Yeah, that's what did it. Yes. That is the one thing. Sorry, my dog is joining us. That's the one thing I don't love about social media is that, like, yes, I do want to see things that I've looked at, but I want to see new things too. I don't want to only see what I've looked at the last 5 seconds, because then it changes so much. And I'm like, but I liked last week's FYP page, you know?
Yes, and you know what? If I followed people, it's because I'm interested in what they have to say and what they want to put. But they somehow, like with TikTok specifically, like they never end up in my feed. No matter how hard I try, like I go and I find them and I just do the friends category, and I'll just like go through and see what everybody is looking, doing, because it's the only way I ever see them. I'm like, I followed them for a reason. Their videos.
Right. No, I can totally relate to that. Yeah. I will have to check out Threads. Yeah. I'm all about trying new social media if I have to. If it's worth it, I'll do it. Yeah. But yeah. We do want to say thank you, for joining us tonight and taking time out of your busy schedule. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did too. It was a great conversation. And thank you to everyone who is listening along at home. Remember, there is more than one way up the mountain. And if you're interested in our next episode, it airs Friday as usual. If you're interested in being a guest on the show, you can find us on social media at The Tell Not Show or email us at thetellnotshow@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening.
Thanks again for listening. If you enjoyed the show, consider subscribing and liking. We appreciate all the support. Julia J.K. Allen is an author, editor, and coach and can be found at hijinksurudder.com.
Kirsha Fox is an author, avid reader, gamer, and mother to 4, and you can find her at kirshafox.com. Thanks and see you next time.